So think about it, 70 registered, 40 showed up. And then we had a second like mini workshop at the end where we were going to sell. We went from 40 to two. Two folks showed up to the final to actually make an offer.
And guess how many bought? Zero.
The donut. Welcome to this episode of Goings on the Record. Today we are going to talk about all things how to grow your business. I know a lot of folks have been asking us, like, what did the journey look like? How do you start? And then how do you grow it? Because I know a lot of y'all may have great ideas and may have started to do something, but then today we want to talk about how to grow it. And so, yeah, I'm trying to think, where do we want to start with this thing?
I feel like it's so simple, yet so complicated. So the best way I can describe, especially my lens on things has changed, you know, being in the seat of being a business owner. Life is like a science experiment.
Yeah.
It's like you never really quite know what does what. You just trying stuff, hoping something sticks and hoping something works. It's like you try a new product. The product says it's supposed to do it. Is it going to do it?
Yep.
How much do I take? What time of day do I take, you know, the medicine, yada, yada, yada. Same thing with your business. As you're trying to grow, it's really just a lot of guess and check, honestly. A strategic guess and check, not just throwing stuff on a wall. And it's really quite simple, but it can be very complex.
Yeah, I think the first thing when we're thinking about how to grow your business is making sure that you can articulate and know exactly what you do. Because if somebody asks you, well, what's your business about? And you start going off on this whole like spiel that takes 2 minutes, they done moved on. They're like, oh, they don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, or they're just extremely unclear. And I know a lot of people now, we work in very straight lines. Yeah. And if I got to like do, you know, a bunch of curves and twirls, you've lost me. You know, people, when you get emails, people don't want to read emails. Yep. If they don't get the gist immediately, you've lost them. So you got to be able to articulate that succinctly, clearly, quickly.
Yeah. And what we do, I mean, if someone asks me, well, what do you all do at Done Dissertation? I always just say, you know what, we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. So now you know exactly what you're going to get as a result of working with us, the time frame in which it will happen for you, and the result. Like, everything's going to be laid out for you. So if you haven't thought through that part yet about who, you know, and what you actually do, I think that's step one, because it's no need to go try to sell anything if you really don't even know yourself exactly what you're doing. And it can evolve too. I just think about us as you're growing the business, who you serve and what you do can change. But you got to start somewhere. A lot of folks just don't have anywhere to start. They'd be like, oh, I'm trying to help X person. Well, how? Or sometimes they say, oh, my audience is, I want to help Black women. Do what? You know, or I want to help high achieving Black women. Well, every Black woman's high achiever. So is there a particular type of, you know, who do you want? And, you know, it's being very specific about who you're trying to get to.
And that's so important. And the reason why it's important is because as you think about growing your business, you have to know who your ideal customer is,
sure.
Like intimately.
Yeah.
It can't just be this broad term or this broad group of people, because that's more folks you have to now strategically sift through to get to the person that is going to buy your product or your service. So you really kind of have to double down. And again, this is an evolution. Yeah. We're still evolving through on who our ideal client is. We're getting closer and closer and closer to what that avatar looks like. Yeah. But it definitely is a process, but you have to try to get there, you know, and not be so broad. So that's why it's really important.
And then I know for when I initially was starting and kind of thinking through Done Dissertation, when we started to expand, I was trying to figure out, well, what is the product that we're going to sell? I knew it was a coaching piece, but initially I was like, maybe we'll do something on a particular part of the dissertation. So maybe our only focus would have been literature reviews. And then, you know, what I ended up doing, we had a coach, shout out to Dr. Robin Jackson, and her course, Impact and Income. One of the questions we had to do was do like what they say, market research. And so what the question had to ask is just go around and ask anybody with a doctorate or who's a doctoral student. The question was, what was your biggest or what is your biggest challenge that you're experiencing in your doctoral program? And so I can imagine for anyone else, just think about the question is, what is the biggest challenge that person you're trying to target is experiencing with whatever result you want to give them? That gave me such a lot of insight. I started to realize it wasn't just about the writing. It was about, oh, my chair, I don't get along with them and all these things. So I started to get clearer on what we needed to do in terms of who to focus. But a lot of y'all just don't even know. It's bad. I hear people, they message me. I'm like, who are you working with? And they're like, yeah, I do this type of person, but then I also do this one. And then sometimes I'll do this one. I'm like, well, if you don't know, then no one else will know for you.
That's the truth.
And it's just something that I think for us has evolved. And you can, again, change who you want to target over time. But first, you got to understand what you do and who you're doing it for.
Because you got to find where those people
Sure
are.
do.
So once you know what you do and you know who you're doing it for, now you can target strategically and find where your audience is. It may be social media.
Yeah.
It may be going to conferences or events. It may be in a specific area, like geographic location. If you don't know who those people are, you don't know how to find them. You don't know how to build a marketing campaign so that you can let folks know you're out there, because there's so much noise.
Yeah.
And so, that's super, super, super important, so that you can actually reach your audience.
Yeah, because I know initially when we were doing Done Dissertation, went online. So we did years, probably 4 or 5 years offline. So there was no social media, no anything. We kind of started talking and going on social media. Initially, I thought the audience would be on Instagram and Facebook because that's where I was as a person. But what we learned over the last 4 or 5 years, it's drastically shifted. Whereas now, I would say, if we think about who joins our program and where they come from, I would say, 70% or so, or 60% come from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so now I know that's where our audience sits. And LinkedIn and YouTube, like those two have picked up a lot for us. So we know that that's where we need to spend a lot of our time because that's where the people are.
But again, if you don't know who you need to work with or who your audience is, you don't know where to look for them, where to find them. And it's so important because that's how you're going to communicate to them and to grow your business.
Yeah. And then if you had a couple of clients, right, you haven't had a lot of clients, go back and interview them and ask them, where did they find you? And what made them join? Because now those are the things that then you can use in your marketing, and so you know exactly where they are. So say it was a Facebook community or a Facebook group, all right, let me go back to that group and talk more about what I'm doing. Or if it was a particular something you said online, do more of that content because that attracts the person that wants to join whatever service that you might have. But we learned about, again, the hard way of just getting clients, trying to figure out what's happening and seeing this evolution. Because I think initially we were getting a lot of folks from Facebook. But I was going into a lot of these Facebook communities doing free trainings for folks in that community because they had thousands of people. So I figured, why not start there? But it will evolve as you all continue to go. And I think, Renee, for your side, because you've seen it kind of, evolve as well, what have been some of the things that, that we've done or that you think were very valuable for us really finding our ideal client?
Well, you kind of mentioned some. Definitely kind of just sitting down, knowing what that avatar looks like. Who have been our most successful clients?
Yes, that one.
Who have been our clients that just really excelled, really got the message and the what we were, the support we were providing, really took it and utilized it, and really kind of doing some, I guess, market research with that group of individuals to try to understand what their psyche is. Who they are, demographically even, and then going out and seeing, okay, now how do I go and get more of that person? Has definitely been something that's been helpful, and just kind of trying to figure that out and double down.
Yeah.
We have a director of marketing.
Shout out to Carrie. I got to check out her episode too. She has an episode on here.
Absolutely. Go back. I don't know what episode
I think it's like episode 3 or 4.
Yeah. And so we basically have this plan. So we know who our ideal client is, which again, it will evolve as we evolve. But in this moment, we know who that person is. And then we have basically a plan of where all the places that person is and how can we reach them. And it looks different depending on what the channel is. So it may be LinkedIn. We may be able to also find that person at a specific education conference. We may be able to find that person through doing doing classroom talks.
Yep.
We may be able to also find them at different workshops or in different support groups. So we kind of figured out all the ways to get to them, and then we can build what we've learned from our market research with our current clients and apply that to our marketing to get those folks to know who we are and see if we'd be a good fit for them.
Yeah, and I think another piece I think is somewhat unpopular, but you'll hear a lot of people, a lot of business coaches saying, oh, you need to charge your worth. I'm cool with that, right? I believe that too. But when you're first starting out, if y'all don't have clients yet, do it all for free. because you want the testimonials, because part of getting more clients and growing your business, people got to see the receipts. I think that's one of the reasons why we've been successful. Like, we can just show, like, if you look, I have a Google Doc of all of our folks who have earned a doctorate with us. It's a laundry list. Like, I just show you, like, go talk to this person, go talk to this person. When you have so many receipts, people know that it works. They're more likely to join because they want a result that's been proven.
It's so important. It's kind of funny. So I came across a website of a person, and this person, I think, was marketing some sort of like intensive weekend or whatever.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
And I never heard of the person. Cool, that's fine. It was something that was geared towards like Black women business owners, something or another. And I'm scrolling down on the like page, the landing page or the registration page. And, you know, I always go for the testimonials. Where are the receipts, you know, just like I go on Amazon or, you know. And so as I look closer, there were these testimonials like blurbs, but like the picture, there were no names, and the pictures were all of her.
Yeah, it was all of the person
or all of the person
doing the workshop.
All of one person. And I'm
wild.
like, wait, are these real testimonials? And instantly I was just kind of like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. So testimonials really do bring a lot of value to folks that are like, hey, I haven't really heard of you before.
Yeah.
I didn't find you through word of mouth. Like, so I don't have necessarily someone that can vouch.
Yeah.
So I want to see, you know, what everybody else is saying about you.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I was like, is this the same like cutout person or whatever?
And they were charging something like, I think it was over $1,000 for this event. So it wasn't like even it was a low ticket, like, oh, maybe it's $97. I'll check it out because I'll throw away $97 if it doesn't work.
I was like, this is the same person, and it was.
Yeah, a mess. So you know, I think that goes with the testimonials. But as you're trying to grow your business, people are going to look for you, right? And so you have to be online to some extent. Not necessarily saying you have to make content online, but if you're trying to grow your business, you have to have some type of digital footprint. So a website, even if you don't need a full-blown website, a landing page that somebody can know what you do, who you serve. So again, it goes back to the things we first talked about. And just so that people know, and it's not just this weird person that we've heard about online but never seen before. It's just strange. And so you have to be really mindful of that, especially y'all who want to get clients and charge a bunch of money. Like, you have to have a footprint somewhere. Because think about yourself. You're not going to give anybody, let's say, $4,000 or $5,000, and you don't know who they are, and you just saw a random checkout link. Like, that's not happening. And so I think, you know, for us, I think that's why we went online. I think it was a big part. It said, no, if we want to reach more people, we're going to have to shift to online. And I was not necessarily against it. I just didn't like doing this part, the video stuff.
He's such an introvert.
And I go to speak all over the country. It's crazy. So I speak everywhere, but I don't like to do it.
You wouldn't know it. Sometimes when he goes to like these, you know, events whether it's conferences, workshops,
draining.
He's extremely drained by the end of it, because I think in its truest form, you're definitely an introvert.
For sure.
Friendly guy, loves to talk and hear, you know, about other people's experiences.
But I gotta shut it down too.
It takes a toll on you.
Yes.
After a while, but you've built that muscle.
Yeah, I've had to.
You know, you realize. I remember he'd be like, I gotta go live. You know, but it was just something he had to do. You built the muscle.
Yeah, I built the muscle, and you just consistently do it, right? And I think that goes to, as you're trying to grow the business, the people who win stay around. Like, honestly, if you're consistently showing up in front of people, you will win. I just noticed that over time. Like, we dominate on the internet. Like, our content, I can say that just knowing the landscape. Like, we dominate everybody online in terms of the content that we're putting out. Folks are talking about fluff, and like our content is like legit stuff that really is impacting students, and I think that's why we win, because we're consistently showing up.
And I think it's proven too, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to help people, and that's through a number of ways. You could actually work with us and be a part of our program, or you can just be in our community. And we get so many DMs from people that never even had a consultation with us, just simply was on our email list and in our community and following along, maybe bought the book, but really picked up on some of those actionable strategies, doable strategies. Oh my God, I want to thank you so much. I've been tuning in for a couple years. I've been putting these strategies in place, and I'm now Dr. So-and-so. And we didn't even really know who they were.
Yeah, it was a win.
You know? So they've really been able to benefit from that. And that's why we keep doing it and we keep going and we keep trying to sharpen the pencil and put out like quality content because it really is helping people.
Yeah, and I will say, even I'm thinking about when we went to our business coach Jasmine's event, I was getting an award at the event, and we were sitting in one of the rows, and in front of us, somebody sitting in front of us, and they happened to turn around, and they say, "Oh, Dr. Goins, I'm Dr. Such and Such. I thought about joining your program." And this person, we actually had a sales call. They decided not to join, but she's like, "I utilized the strategies, and I finished, and I did everything you said to do, and I got it done. And I want to thank you so much. And then, let me introduce you to a couple more people who I know need your help." Like stuff like that, just that even if you don't directly help them, they spread the word for you. It's amazing.
Word of mouth is powerful.
No, that's for sure. Another thing I wanted to talk about, because I think a lot of folks watching may want to use social media as like their marketing strategy to get clients. One of the things that I see this from my higher ed folks, they got to be a little more strategic, but we got this part down pretty well, is that you got to get these people off of social media. Like some people want to grow their followers and all that stuff. I'm cool on that. I don't need a large follower base because I want the information. So I want people to see what we do online, but then click a link and then get into our community where now, I have access to them on my cell phone through one of our partners, Superphone. Shout out to Superphone. You're interested to be a link in the description if you're interested in using Superphone as a SMS text messaging platform. But we utilize them because now when someone interacts with us, they click a link, they join our text message community. Now we can talk to them offline and we don't have to be on social media. Mm-hmm. I think that's so important. A lot of times we forget that part and we just be trying to build our follower count up.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know it looks good in terms of clout.
It does, yeah.
That's just about it.
Yeah, it's a vanity metric. Like, I got 20,000. I've seen this, and I've had a couple of conversations with people. Like, yeah, I got 20,000 followers, and I'm like, well, how much revenue are you making from the 20,000 in your business? Like, I made like 50,000 last year. I'm like, that ain't it. You can have a small community of a couple hundred. And if you do it right and you have a great offer, you can easily be multi-six figures just from that small community. You don't have to have a large community.
And I think we all tend to, just in this day and age, but we all can forget that these online platforms could be gone in a matter of seconds. And then what? Yeah. You have 20,000 followers, but that's the only way that you're able to connect with them. If something happened to your Instagram account, I've seen it all the time.
Drunk get hacked
and everything like that. Now what? You got to have some other way to communicate with your audience.
Yeah. Y'all don't sleep on getting people off the internet. Just because at the end of the day, you got to sell. If you're selling something, you have to get them off the platform to where you have control and domain, whether it's at your website. Because now when you get them to your website, now you can have advertising that doubles back if they don't join your programs or if they don't buy. So now you have an opportunity to do different things with your marketing, but you have to get them off the platform. And I think that's a key to growing the business that oftentimes we don't talk about. They just say post content, grow your social media, but for what purpose?
Exactly.
Like get them off of those platforms. And they don't pay. Like, I'm sorry, besides like YouTube, I mean, some of them pay, but you have to have so many followers, and then the money's pennies. Like, no, I just want a small group that I can, advertise and work with offline.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think of some other things in terms of us growing, the business.
I think, and this might be like implied, but I think it is don't stop. Yeah. Because if you think about growing your business and you think about like all the peaks and the valleys, sometimes in the valleys it's just like super frustrating, super hard. I mean, in a previous episode we just talked about hustle culture and not getting burned out. It's definitely ups and downs to this thing. Yeah. And I think it's implied, but I think it begs for us to talk about the fact that don't give up. Keep selling, keep going, keep doing all the things. Yeah, there's going to be some times where, revenue is down and you need to tweak certain things. You're going to need to make changes. Whatever you do, don't stop. Just keep going.
Yeah, we had that happen. Just to give you an example, I'm always pretty transparent with this stuff. This is what it is because it's a good story to tell. But one time we did a launch. We had an event that we ran. I can't remember the numbers, but I think for the event we probably had maybe 70 or so register. I can't remember how many registered top. Yeah, maybe 70 or so registered for the event.
We had like 40.
40 attended. Yeah. So that's a pretty good, right? But then part of the event was then we were going to sell into our program. And so we went, so think about it, 70 registered, 40 showed up. And then we had a second like mini workshop at the end where we were going to sell. We went from 40 to two.
Two.
Two folks showed up to the final to actually make an offer.
And guess how many bought? Zero.
The donut. Zero bought. And we were like, what? Oh my goodness. Because we had, and this is the testing part that Renee talked about at the beginning, we had done this workshop a couple of different times for us. And so the fact that this one just was a donut, it's like, what do we do?
It's humbling.
It was,
but
it was crazy.
The cool thing about us is there's such a like harmony in how we think and how we work.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you know, like I'm the emotional one. So I was in my feelings because in my mind, I tend to take things, you know, personally. I'm like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
What did I miss? You know, what was I supposed to have done? But the fact of the matter is that sometimes you're going to have experiences like this. And so you have to see it as a learning opportunity. So after we got through all the, oh my gosh, we sat down and we're like, what did we do right?
Yeah, what happened?
We do this after every event or every major push or thing,
workshop thing, whatever we're doing.
We do.
Yeah.
After it, we sit down with our director of marketing. Shout out to Carrie.
Yeah.
And we go through the metrics. What did we do right? What did we do wrong, or what will we improve on the next time? How can we get it right the next time? And so we immediately got over that, got to work, and, you know, started figuring out, okay, what's the next move?
We had a banner month the next month.
Banner month.
It's crazy.
So it's like you have to stay the course.
Yeah.
When you're growing your business, it's not going to be all peaks. It's going to be some valleys. So just keep going. Now, when you keep going, you know, are going to have to make some tweaks here and there. The one thing that I would say, going back to what I said at the beginning, and that this is kind of like I like to think about it as a science experiment. When you think about all the variables and controls, when you feel like, okay, things aren't going my way, and as I'm growing my business, and you want to start making tweaks, try not to make too many or drastic ones at the same time, because then you can't really tie back the outcomes to a specific thing you tweaked. So kind of be very systematic about it. Okay, I'm going to change this and see what happens. Give it a little bit of time. Okay, now I'm going to change this. That way you can kind of try to figure out like the impact of your tweaks. But if you do a bunch of drastic changes and it's really wildly successful or not successful or anywhere in the middle, you don't really know what it was that, you know, accounted for that. So.
And for my faculty folks who do research, think about it like this. You have a statistical model that you created, and you want to control for a number of variables. But and when you're doing this right, you just need to control for a couple of them. And you want to make those constant so they don't impact your results. And that's what we're really trying to get at. Like, change one or two, not five. Because now you don't know which one, like what's the real cause of the effect that you're seeing in your results. So, we've learned that. We've made small tweaks here and there. And one of those tweaks was even the removal of an event that we used to run. We actually stopped doing it because we realized after running it for about a year or so, we had mixed results. And we were like, it was too inconsistent for the time that it was taking us to actually put the event on. And so we just made a decision to change how we were operating. And y'all gonna have to be willing to shut some stuff down too, because that's just part of what you may have to do to grow the business. And
it's scary, but that's just part of growing pains.
Yeah. And then one thing I do want to touch on just briefly is that, we made some tweaks. We started doing things, but then I guess for us, the role of having a team and consultants in place, because we've had some people really to help us, particularly on the marketing side, because that's not really our wheelhouse. And so I'm trying to think through how folks, maybe as you're growing your business, thinking on when to take on and when to reach out and get those consultants to come in and take a look at your business.
I think it's definitely a spectrum because some people start out kind of slow and they have this trajectory, and then some people like take off pretty fast. Yeah. And so then your needs are different. But there's so many different options that you can have in terms of getting help with the marketing to grow your business. Yeah. You may just start following somebody on social media and learning about them and learning about what they're able to offer and implementing some of the free content or advice that they're able to give. So that's like on the lower end. Yeah. I would say in the middle, you have some folks out there that could do like a 1 day kind of, intensive with you and kind of build a plan for you to implement or execute, where you could start to kind of change things and just get that direction, all the way from bringing somebody on as a contractor or a consultant to help you with like the nitty gritty and, really kind of be a part of your team. So there's definitely a wide spectrum of help that you could get out there, and you kind of gonna have to assess that just based on where you are in your business.
Yeah, and I think an important part of all of these things, right? You're going to do all this to grow the business, and you're going to, have more clients, have more success. And Renee is a stickler for this, and I am too. My vision is like, let me just make more money. Renee's like, all right, what does the bottom line look like on the profit?
Oh yeah.
And so you're doing all this work. Make sure y'all turn a profit. Like, we seen it happen. It could easily come and go. Like, you make the money and then you just spend it right back. Saying you're investing in the business, but you got to figure out, what do you want to do with this? Why are you growing this business? What do you want to do with the money after?
It's so important. The top line's cool.
Yeah.
It's important.
It is cool. I like to talk
It's
about
cool. The top line's
it's
cool.
It's cool.
But it's everything in the middle and the bottom that is the important part.
Yeah, because a lot of times when the people are marketing these business coaches, they'll be like, oh, I generated 6 figures, right? Multi 6 figures. But then the question you have to start asking, well, was that in gross revenue or was that in profit? Because I think 6 figures in profit, when we start to see those numbers, that hits different than just 6 figures in revenue. Mm-hmm. And so that's a difference. And I think sometimes the way business coaches and things market, they're kind of funny with the numbers a little bit. And so,
but I think that also too just tells you a little bit more about their operations.
Yeah.
Because you have to manage your expenses, you have to manage your budget, you have to manage what you're projecting you're going to do, and how that trickles down to all other facets of your business. So
yeah,
that's another episode.
Yeah, it's a lot to growing it, but I just think, if we had to just boil it down, it's really knowing who's your ideal client, what is it that you're offering, right? What are you selling to them, and where are they, and how do you get in front of them? If you can do those things and consistently get in front of your ideal client, you will generate clients, and for sure. Even if you're just starting out, you're doing it for free to get testimonials. From there, then just start charging. Mm-hmm. And then as you get more comfortable and have more results, you can start charging more and more and more. And you'll come to a threshold, and you may not. You may be able to go higher than what you think, because there are, and this is the last thing we've learned from doing this work, as you go up in price, you got to make sure your ideal client has the money to pay you too. Yep. Some of y'all have services that are for people that don't have money. And it just is what it is. You're trying to make money in your business. You have to find people who actually can pay. And we've learned this over time of how to market to a particular audience that is willing to pay and invest in the services. So again, as long as you know who your ideal client is, where they are, what you're selling, and then how to continuously get in front of them, you will win every time.
You can grow.